in Star Wars Visions, one of the most anticipated shows in all of 2021, where all the weebs and the Star Wars nerds can get together and agree on one thing. Anime and Star Wars can sometimes mix. And I'm going to be reviewing every single episode separately. I will try to review them one episode a week, and we're going to be starting off with the top of the list, episode 1. Now, episode 1, The Duel, had a very old retro, early 1940s, 1930s type of feel. It was in black and white, and it only captured certain colors perfectly. Episode 1 is pretty much what many fans consider their best one. It was in black and white. It felt like it was freshly made from that would appear were from blasters or from lightsabers. And to be honest with you, it hit very well. It did very good to tell the story. So basically the story is, there is an Inquisitor that has taken over this village on this random planet. And the Inquisitor wants the chief. The chief has not presented himself. So what the Inquisitor does is she rounds up all the people who live in the village and is going to start immediately executing them if the chief doesn't come. And the rumor is probably because the chief might be a Jedi or a fugitive of the Empire. Now, the way it fit the samurai theme with modern Star Wars, well, basically what Star Wars, felt so right. It fit very well. It's like those toy models you see at conventions where they have samurai Stormtroopers, samurai Darth Vader, samurai Boba Fett. It fit right. So there's this random guy that appears in the village. And he is not a local. He doesn't live there. He's just there visiting. He's traveling. I think he's trying to make amends for his past sins or to pretty much live his life of solitude. So he sees the Inquisitor taking over the whole village and decides, alright, I'll do something. But before he even starts doing anything, there's a group of bandits that decide to fight the Inquisitor. And I'm not 100% sure if these are bounty hunters that the village hired to protect their village, or these are people who live in there and they just showed up out of nowhere to fight. And let me tell you, the fight was amazing, especially with that Mary Poppins, and seeing how easily the Inquisitor has no problem defeating these warriors. Even taking down, she even impales one of the warriors with her umbrella, and the way she impales him, it hurt. It was not with her lightsaber. She used her staff first, flung it in, and then opened it up. Samurai Jack looking guy decides to get into the fight. He reveals he's not Jedi, but a Sith as well. And the fight between the two was very amazing. Even though this episode was really short, every little scene of fight and violence, action was worth it. Especially once they were fighting in the waterfall, when they go into the Sith temple, and she destroys one of the Sith shrines and immediately defeats her from behind. The episode itself, I can see why many people would think it's one of the best episodes out there. For me, it's top 3 for sure. There are a lot of Easter eggs actually in there, if you guys notice. One of the big Easter eggs I think a lot of people missed, when the Inquisitor and the other Sith Lord show up and they meet and they're about to fight, you can see the original poster from the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, in the background on the sign of a local shop. So I want to say the fight scenes in here, even if it was when they were fighting the warriors, especially the droid with the minigun and the Trandoshan with the melee weapons, it was really cool. That was my favorite part. I especially like the beginning when the little child stands up for his village to defend them, calling himself the chief. But I really want to keep to account is the way the Stormtroopers are portrayed. They portray them very well with traditional Japanese samurai warriors. And you could tell that because they all have different weapons and their armor are built differently. They still wear helmets, that's true, but the way their helmets are portrayed show different type of warriors. You have some of the helmets that had hats, like old traditional hay hats, or their weapons of choices were either long bows, staves. Yes, they had blasters too, but the way that some of them had melee weapons was actually... The fighting scenes were very beautiful. The way it kept it traditionally, black and white, it looked like it was back in pencil and paper, but they also, the way they had CGI in some of these episodes. The first episode had a good amount of CGI, especially when they were fighting between the lightsabers, and how the Sith Lord was able to stop the Inquisitor's lightsaber with his hands. It really captures the CGI very well. It just looks like it was modernized. Like, it looks like it was an old episode from an early anime show. Now, I know this sounds like the most vague review of an episode, but I'm just reviewing this episode right after watching it on its... I will be talking a little bit longer in this video with more facts. Hopefully I'll come back with more information. But just from first looks, very amazing. The fighting scenes, the art style, the CGI, the way it kept with traditional Japanese culture, and was able to introduce and mix it with Star Wars. It actually reminds me a lot of Batman Samurai, I think. A DC film that came out a few years ago where Batman goes back in time and he becomes a samurai or a ninja, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. It had the same art style. It wasn't in black and white. It was in color, but it had a good CGI. It had good fighting scenes. The story was very good. But then again, that was a movie. Compared to this episode, I would give it to the movie, mostly because it had a lot of character buildup. But like I said, this was a short episode, and hopefully they can expand more, because a lot of, the whole series gives out a lot of interesting characters, which at this point is, why not give them their own show? I give this episode, the first episode, an 8 out of 10, mostly because I think there's too much action in this. So after doing some further research, I can correctly say that episode 1, The Duel, produced by Kamikaze Duga. I apologize if I mispronounced the last word. The episode was actually based on a story called Ronin, a Visions novel. That was made by Emma Miyako Kandon. It basically tells the origins of the Jedi. So there was never always good versus evil back when the Jedi started. The original story was they were monks, and at first they were called Jedi, and eventually some decided to just become knowledge in the Force, use it to help others, and there were others that wanted to use the knowledge of the Force to empower themselves and to give themselves power and control over the universe. The story by Emma Miyako Kandon, again, if I mispronounce it, I apologize. The story focuses on the Jedi and Sith, but with an alternate history pulled from Japanese lore. The Jedi are the most loyal servants of the Empire. 2 decades ago, Jedi clans clashed in service to feuding lords. Sickened by this endless cycle, a sect of Jedi rebelled, seeking to control their own destiny and claim power in service of the Master. They called themselves Sith. So pretty much, it is the origins of how the Jedi came to be and how the Sith came out from the Jedi. So really, the Jedi were never good people. They were always monks. They were never supposed to have power within the government, which they eventually got during the Republic. There was 3 branches of government. There was the Senate, the office of the Chancellor, and the Jedi. And the Jedi were never supposed to have power. Basically, the Jedi were supposed to use their knowledge of the Force to help others. And by joining the Republic, they eventually blinded themselves, where they cared very little about the public. Others still had the mentality of helping others. But because of the current war that was going on, the Clone Wars, the Old Republic, well, the Old Republic isn't canon anymore, but because of the Clone Wars, they pretty much lost focus of helping the people, and the people lost their faith in the Jedi. So this story by Emma pretty much retells that whole story, traditional Japanese lore. And actually, this book came out in October 12th, 2021. So this is a brand new story, and it captures. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone had a great and wonderful day, week, weekend, or wherever you're watching this.